What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to Monday evening's Anfield Agenda transfer news roundup, where of course I'm going to be giving you the very latest on Liverpool's pursuit of Martin Zubimendi. We've spent the early hours of the afternoon trying to find out exactly what is going on, and today I'm going to explain what will probably happen over the next 24 to 48 hours, including all the mechanisms that Liverpool would have to go through to trigger the release clause in Zubimendi's contract. As well as that, I'm going to be giving you an update on 3 potential departures from Liverpool Football Club and why that could mean the arrival of Anthony Gordon. So that and more over the next few minutes, but you know the score. We want to know your thoughts, so let us know in the comment section. Drop a like on the video if you enjoy it, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and of course go over and subscribe to the Clips channel as well, Anfield Agenda Clips. Scan the QR code on the screen or just give it a little search. Right, let's get into it. So various different reports today, but I want to just go back to last night for a second, because I'm aware that a lot of people love to jump up and down and go on everything to say that I wasn't right, somebody else wasn't right. Well, last night's news from Paul Joyce echoed exactly what I've been telling everybody for the last 3 to 4 days. Every indication from the player side is that he wants to move across, but it is now becoming more and more tricky because Sociedad are really laying on the guilt trip and making this difficult. Remember, at the start of this process, all the news coming out of Spain was, if Zubimendi decides that he wants to depart, then they're not going to stand in his way, and they may force Liverpool to trigger the release clause. That's since changed to, well, take a few days to think about it. They made him play that friendly with Union Berlin, and they're laying the guilt trip on. Now, what they're also trying to do now is delay this until the first home game of the season, so he can fall in love again with the Sociedad fan base when he sees how much they want him to stay. None of this is treating the young man like they said they would, and I don't think it's going to work either. So what may happen over the next 24 to 48 hours? Well, some people believe Liverpool have given him until Wednesday. I don't think we're going to hang around that long. I think we're going to see a decision much sooner than that. But let's say Liverpool do have to trigger the release clause. How does that happen? Well, we're going to take you through a little readout of exactly what those steps are, and hopefully keep you guys as informed as possible. So in Spain, there has to be a release clause or a termination clause in a player's contract by law. So how do you trigger that? Well, there are 4 parts to it, and I'm going to take you through them right now. The first one is the legal mechanism. The release clause is a legal mechanism that allows the player to buy out the remainder of their contract with their current club, making them as such a free agent. The clause is technically triggered by the player, as they're the one who is terminating their contract. So Liverpool will give him the money, he will then go trigger the clause, making himself a free agent, then he could sign for Liverpool. So funding by the buying club is the next subheading. While the player triggers the clause, the money used to do so is almost always provided by the buying club. So in this case, Liverpool would provide the £51 million or €60 million needed for Zubimendi to activate that release clause. The player then uses this money to pay the release clause and buys himself out of a Sociedad contract. Why the player triggers it is the next subheading. The reason the player must be the one to trigger the release clause is that it's a mechanism in their contract. The buying club can't directly pay the Sociedad the fee. They have to give the funds to the player or their representative, who then triggers the clause. And finally, media and communication. When reports say Real Sociedad up the pressure and Liverpool target Martin Zubimendi, he must trigger his own £51 million release clause from his boyhood club. It's emphasising the emotional and procedural aspect, as a way they're saying to Zubimendi fans, we did everything we could to keep him, and they're making it really difficult for him, because it looks as if he's doing everything to kick and fight his way out of the club. So if he has to go and trigger that release clause, that's obviously going to look like, well, we did everything, but of course it vilifies the player, and quite frankly, I think that's pathetic at this point. A player who's represented them as well as he has. So I think that's what's going to happen. The player, as I've said and Paul Joyce reiterated and many others, has always given the vibes to Liverpool that he's open to and wants to move, and if he didn't, this still wouldn't be going on right now. So next up, we're going to speak about potential departures. Once again today, we've seen Luis Diaz's name mentioned on The Athletic as one that Liverpool would only listen to offers of £50 million and above. Now, isn't it a bit strange that Liverpool are putting this news out there, or briefing journalists, or journalists have access to information when there isn't one bid on the table or even a sign of a bid coming in. It looks to me, and many others, like the club are proactively looking to attract offers in for DIAZ, and then you're going to ask yourself why. Well, the reason why is the reason I've been telling you all summer, because Liverpool want to sign Anthony Gordon. That may happen before the transfer window closes, particularly if they can find somebody to come in and buy DIAZ. Now, again, I'm not sitting here in any way, shape or form trying to say we need to sell DIAZ. That's a club decision, not for me. All I've ever been able to say is that we certainly want to sign Anthony Gordon. How that was funded, well, now that's starting to make a little bit of sense, right? On top of that, there is a little bit of a twist to the Bobby Clark situation. So we are currently, after refusing the second offer from Salzburg and Pep Linders, who want to sign Bobby Clark and bring him over to the Austrian Bundesliga. But there is talk today that maybe he could be bought by Newcastle, where of course we brought him in from. His father's made no secret of the fact that he would have loved him to have gone back up to Newcastle at some point in his career as well. So maybe there's something to be done here as part of or alongside a deal for Anthony Gordon. So keep an eye on that situation over the next few days as well, because this is one that's going to come to a conclusion. And again, I'm surprised that Liverpool are even open to selling Bobby Clark. I think he's a very good young footballer, but it is what it is. I can only report what's out there. Top of that, Ben Doak situation, keep an eye on that. He didn't, in my opinion, have a great game against Las Palmas yesterday. We know there's interest in loan moves for him, but again, it seems for the right price, Liverpool could be willing to do business there permanently. And lastly, on Sepp van den Berg, Fabrizio Romano posted today to say, understand Liverpool have been very clear with clubs interested in signing Sepp van den Berg. The price tag is £20 million. Liverpool are not accepting €10 million or £12 million or anything along those. It is £20 million or you do not get Sepp van den Berg. Now, the interest seems to be there from 3, 4, 5 clubs, including, I believe, Feyenoord, who are going to lose Geertruida, possibly to Aston Villa. So I do think we're going to see a conclusion to this as well before the end of the transfer window. But as I say here now, I really don't have any understanding of which club is the most likely to finally up the ante and pay the money for Sepp van den Berg. All of this, though, ladies and gentlemen, everything that I've spoken about over the last few minutes does not excuse the fact that we are still here on August the 12th without a single signing having come through the doors. And if we do lose some of these other players, particularly Sepp van den Berg, we've got to go out there and still bring in a centre-back. So at what point do Liverpool start to work on other business? It's becoming a tad embarrassing now that everybody and everything associated with Liverpool's transfer team seem to be just sitting on the Zubimendi deal while everything else is just happening. Other clubs are doing their business and Liverpool are just sitting on their hands. We start off this weekend against Ipswich Town, a game 12:30, and of course we will be live for it as always an hour before kickoff. But I still think there's a lot of work to be done in this window, and we cannot accept one signing over the line and think that that's a celebratory window. We need to get what we need to get, which is a centre-back, a midfielder, and potentially a forward. So let's wait and see how this all pans out. But right now, I'm very, very confident on Zubimendi. Very, very confident. The rest of it, haven't got a clue about, particularly our search for a centre-back, which is one of the more pressing issues, in my opinion. So now it's over to you. Let us know your thoughts. We always appreciate them. Don't forget to drop a like and hit that subscribe button. The Anfield Agenda podcast has had plenty of episodes out over the last few days, and I'm recording with Jack Gill a little bit later on this evening as well. So that will either be out tonight or tomorrow morning. And of course, I'll be back here tonight at 8:45 with the late night agenda, answering all of your questions and going through this transfer in as much detail as I can provide. Really do appreciate your support. Keep hitting that subscribe button for us, because we're trying to get the channel up towards the 300,000 mark. We can only do it as always with your incredible support. I'll catch up with you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.